Students, we have to understand now what are the conventions for writing units. Okay, many times we make mistakes while writing the units. First of all, units should be written in small letters. Like when I say kilogram, K should be small, right? Meters, METRE, meters should be small. Even if it's the name of a scientist like ampere, coulomb, volt, then also when you write the full units, it should be in small letters. But when you write only the symbol of unit, the symbols should be written in capital if they are named after a name of scientist. Like when I say ampere, the symbol will be capital A. But when I say meter, it will be small m. Understanding the difference? So, capital letters will be used as symbols for those units which are named after the names of scientists. Examples are many: Newton, Joule, Volt, Coulomb, Ampere. All these are Watt. Watt also is a name of scientist, James Watt. Second, this was one rule. Second, after writing any unit, you should not put punctuation sign like comma or full stop. This should be avoided. You should be completely avoided. You should not put dot or comma after writing the units. Similarly, units should never be written in plural. Many times we do the mistake that we write in plural, like kilograms is written as kg. When it's 1 kg or 10 kg, we will not write kgs. Because if you write kgs, the meaning changes. It becomes kilogram second, which is wrong. Understanding? So, whenever we write units in for any physical quantity, they should be always written in singular and not in plural. Okay? Next, when two or more units are written together, okay, there should be a gap in between. Like I told you, momentum is written as what? Kg meter per second. Between kg and meter per second, there should be a small gap. There should be a small gap between kg and meter per second. Always, the numerator and denominator of the units should be written as a ratio. Okay, like acceleration is written as change in velocity upon time, right? So units will be meter per second per second. So will you write meter per second per second? No, you will be writing meter per second square. Understanding? So it should be written as a ratio of two units, one in the numerator, other in denominator, and it should be mentioned by a slash arrow, slash. Okay, and it can be also written like this. Take example of this acceleration. We can write meter per second square or meter second. Put a gap and then second raised to -2. Meter second to the power -2. Even that is the correct way of writing the units. Okay. You should always remember that there are higher units and there are lower units. Like meters have higher units, kilometers. Lower units are centimeter, millimeter, decimeters, and so on. Micrometer, right? Now, whenever we write the lower units, we write a small symbol before it. Like millimeter, I'll write small m before meter. Micrometer, I'll write symbol mu m. That will be symbol put for what? Micrometers. So the lower units or higher units are written by using a appropriate symbol before the symbol of unit. It's kilometers or millimeters, micrometers, and so on. Getting this point? So that is how we write different units, and these are the rules or conventions which should be followed while writing the units. This I will show and write on the board. So let's understand the conventions used for SI units. Conventions means rules. Okay. Now first of all, the unit should be represented by a symbol. Always we'll write units in what? Symbols. If necessary, we write in full words, otherwise we write in symbols. Okay. The full name of unit starts with small letters. But if the symbol for unit is named after a person, a famous scientist, or who invented something, then that symbol will be written in capital letters. Okay. Symbols don't take plurals. Means if you want to write 10 meters, you write like this, 10 meters ms. That is wrong. It is absolutely wrong. Okay. This is a wrong way of writing. Simply write 10 m. Getting it? So writing ms in plurals is not allowed. Symbols don't contain full stops or comma after any symbol. Like I write 5 Newton. Okay, you should not put full stop or comma or any punctuation sign. This is wrong. Getting it? Units in numerator and denominator should be written as one ratio. Example, units of acceleration is meter per second square or meter second raised to minus 2. This will not be written as meter per second per second. Getting it? So this is a wrong way of writing the units of acceleration. It will be simply written as meter per second square or meter second raised to minus 2. Some more rules we follow, conventions. Prefix is used for before symbols to write higher or lower units. We all know this, like millimeters, centimeters, decimeters, and so on. If it is millisecond, suppose we write ms, there will not be any gap between m and s. Okay, they are together. This is milliseconds, and 1 millisecond is equal to 10 raised to minus 3 second. Microsecond mu s, nanosecond ns, and so on. Okay, so these are the conversions. 1 millisecond is 10 raised to minus 3 seconds. 1 microsecond is 10 raised to minus 6 seconds. 1 nanosecond is 10 raised to minus 9 seconds. Now one more thing, the last rule. Space or hyphen should be introduced to indicate multiplication of units. Like here, velocity is written meter per second, should be written as meter space second raised to minus 1 or meter hyphen, this dash is called hyphen, second raised to minus 1, and not simply ms raised to minus 1. There should be a small gap kept between the two units. So these are the all sign conventions or rules which are followed while writing the units. Getting it? Hope this is very clear in your mind. I told you how we measure large distances, okay, by using parallax method. Now, how we measure small distances, very small distances. We know this is a scale, okay. Now, this scale has got the smallest unit. Better than this, there is a plastic scale which is much more accurate, okay. In plastic scale, we can measure 0.1 centimeter. How much? 0.1 centimeter. That's the least distance we can calculate, or 1 millimeter. Now, take example, thickness of a paper or the width of your hair. Can you measure it by using scale? No. For that purpose, there are instruments like vernier caliper or screw gauge. Vernier caliper can measure the thickness of paper or any such devices. It has got a least count. Least count is the minimum measurement it can do. It can take. The least count of vernier caliper is 0.01 centimeter, and for screw gauge the least count is 0.001 centimeter. Okay, all these things will be taught to you in practicals. The first practicals will be about understanding use of screw gauge and vernier calipers. Okay, I repeat, small distances cannot be measured by what? Simple scale, plastic scale or measuring scale. It has to be measured by an instrument having smaller least count. Least count of scale is 0.1 centimeter. least count of vernier caliper is 0.01 centimeter and least count of screw gauge is 0.001 centimeter. So for accurate readings, such instruments should be taken whose least count is minimum. Least count is what? Minimum. That is screw gauge will be much accurate for measuring the thickness of a paper compared to vernier caliper or compared to an ordinary scale. That was all about measurement of length. Okay, I explained you parallax method. I explained you how meter is taken as standard on comparison with the wavelength of orange red light. Then I told you the different ways in which parallax is used. Parallax is nothing but the apparent change in position, okay, which is recorded when we look by our different eyes. Okay, that method is used for measuring the distance between the planets and stars, or even the size of planet can be measured by using the parallax method. And lastly, small distances are measured by using instruments like screw gauge and vernier calipers. Okay. Students, let's understand the measurement of three fundamental physical quantities, that is length, mass and time. Okay, let us first talk about length. So smaller measurements of length are done in meters. Okay, and how we define 1 meter? See, it is related to the wavelength of orange red light emitted by an atom of krypton. When atoms of krypton are excited, they give out wavelength. We compare this with the wavelength. Okay, now understand this. Velocity of light in vacuum is 2.9 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. I repeat, velocity of light in vacuum is 2.9 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. So 1 meter is defined as the distance traveled by the light emitted by krypton atoms in how much time? In 1 upon 2.9 into 10 to 8 seconds. Okay, I repeat, the distance traveled by the light emitted by krypton, okay, in how much? 1 upon 2.9 into 10 to 8 second. In this time interval, how much distance it has traveled? That distance will be equal to 1 meter. So that is a standard for measuring 1 meter. Okay, this I will show on the board also, don't worry. Now, the second thing, large distances, okay, are measured in kilometers, and further that they are also measured in what? Light years. Okay, light years is also a unit of measuring distance between far away or distant planets or stars. Now, normally, what is the method used for measuring distance between planets and stars? Okay, that method is called as parallax method. Parallax method. To understand parallax method, I'll give you an example. See, understand this. To understand the definition of parallax, first you understand this. I keep an object in front of my eyes. Okay, you can also try this. Now I close one of my eye and look at the object, and then I close the other eye and look at the object. Okay, what you see, the object seems to be displaced. Try this. Keep the object, look at the object by one eye, and then close the other eye and look with the other eye. First you watch by your left eye and then you watch with the right eye. What you see? The object seems to be displaced. This apparent displacement which takes place when you observe by both your eyes, that is called as what? Parallax. And using parallax method, we can find the distance between the object and the observer. Like in this case, if I know the angle of parallax, okay, through what angle I am seeing, like angle made by the I1 with the object and angle made by the I2 with the object. What is the angle between the two lines? That's the angle of parallax. And secondly, distance between both my eyes, that I measure. Using that, we can find the distance between me and the object. This method is used for finding between distance between two planets, or distance between Earth and stars, Earth and other planets. This particular method is used. Okay, that is called as parallax method. But first I will explain you how the meter is explained. Look at the board. See, we are talking about measurement of length. The standard for meter is based on wavelength of orange red light emitted by atoms of krypton. Okay, now the velocity of light in vacuum was found out to be c equal to 2.9 into 10 raised to 8 meter per second. Now, to understand meter, a meter is a distance traveled by light in vacuum during a time interval of 1 upon 2.9 into 10 to 8 seconds. Okay, so this will be the proper definition of understanding the distance meter. Okay, hope this is very clear in your mind. Now let's talk about the parallax method. This I am explaining you. These are my two eyes, E1 and E2. Okay, and this is an object at point P. Now I want to find the distance between the point P and me. Okay, now my eye E1 is when I view this object P. Okay, this is a line E1P, and from the second eye E2P is a line, and theta is the angle between these two lines. Okay, both these paths, right? I know the distance between both of my eyes. It is E1, E2. Now OP can be simply found as out as E1, E2 by theta. OP will be E1 into E2 upon theta. You will ask me how we get this. Very simple. You consider this as arc. Arc is what? Arc is radius into angle, right? So E1, E2 will be radius. I take it as OP because OP, PE1, PE2 are almost equal. When you take large distances, they are almost equal into theta. So OP will be E1, E2 upon theta, right? Arc is radius into angle. So that formula I used here, and I found the distance OP. That method is called as parallax method, and it is used to find distance between heavenly objects, and that I will explain you now. Now, how parallax method can be used to determine the distance between the planets and stars. Let us take one example. This is the Earth, okay, and these are two points which are diametrically opposite. Okay, this is place A and this is place B, which are diametrically opposite on Earth. Okay, and the total distance between these two places is B. Right? Now before I explain you, we will make use of the same formula for parallax, that is arc is radius into angle. Arc is radius into angle. Getting it? So that formula will be used again over here. Now understand this. The distance between A and S and point B and S is same, that is capital D. Okay. Now compared to this D, this value of B, that is the diameter of the Earth which I have taken, is very small. Very small. So B is very less than D. And when this condition is happening, B upon D will be very small. It will be very small value, less than 1. In such conditions, when B is small and D is very large, angle theta becomes very small. As a result, we can take this arc AB, okay, as length B, and this arc is AB has taken as arc of length B and radius D. This radius will be considered equal. This D, AS, as well as this distance, as well as this distance will be taken as D. AB is the arc of the length B and radius D. As AB equal to B and AS is equal to BS equal to D, we can write theta equal to AB upon D. Angle is arc upon radius. Okay, therefore D will be B upon theta, AB upon theta or B upon theta. If you want, I'll write AB upon theta, AB upon theta, or simply B upon theta. Now what we understood from this, don't get confused, it's a very simple equation. Here we know this distance, okay, we know this distance AB, that is B. We have found the angle between what, AS and BS. This can be easily done using telescope. Okay, from point A what is the angle made, and from point B what is the change in angle, that is called as parallax, which I told you just now how parallax works. Parallax is the apparent change in the position, okay, which takes place, and by measuring this we can find D. D is the distance of the star from the planet. This is how we measure the large distances. This is one example. One more example I will give you, and how is that I will tell you. Let's understand how we can measure the size of a planet. Okay. Now suppose this is Earth and this is one planet whose diameter we have to calculate. We have to calculate the diameter of this planet or size of the planet. Now by earlier method we have already found capital D. Capital D is the distance between the planet and the Earth. Okay, capital D is known to us. Now what we do, we position the telescope from the Earth such that it is focused at one end of the planet. When we watch through a telescope, the object, the planet which is very far away, appears very large. It appears very large, and we focus the telescope at one end, extreme end of the planet, and the telescope has got a meter, okay, which the readings we record. Now we move the telescope and focus it on the other extreme end of the planet, and by again noting the reading on the telescope, we come to know the value of alpha, through what angle we have moved the telescope. Now capital D is known, alpha is known. If you see carefully, by parallax method, this is arc, this is angle, and this is radius. So alpha can be written as small d upon capital D. Small d is the length of the arc upon capital D, or small d equal to alpha into capital D. Getting it? In this way, we can measure the diameter or the size of a planet or even star by using parallax method. This is our formula. Again, I have used the same formula. Arc is angle into radius. Put this in your mind. Arc is angle into radius. That formula is used in the earlier case as well as in this particular case.